What up, everybody? My name is Alex Seda, and welcome to another episode of Speakerboxx. Today, we've got not one, but two badass DJs and producers. So we've got them on the show, and today we're going to be going over a really dope plugin that's been making life in the studio that much easier. So we got a great show for you today, so stay tuned, and don't forget to click that subscribe button below. Let's start the show. So what is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Speakerboxx. Today we have two Italian powerhouse DJ and producers, huh? We've got Flashmob and we've got Luca Garaboni, huh? So thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. How's it going with you guys? How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm gonna speak for Luca since we speak 12 hours a day as well, not to overloop. But yeah, we're great. We're great. Italy's opening up again. And we're slowly moving into a new period with new rules. And yeah, just trying to find the correct attitude and enthusiasm to move forward in this new world. Luca is going back to Ibiza in just over a week.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, well.
Back to normal.
Back to reality, bro. That's what we're all hoping for, man. You know, everybody has kind of everybody's been going through this whole lockdown thing differently. You know, some people have been using this time to do good things, some people not so much, some people are getting lazy, some people have been in the studio crushing it, killing it, making a whole bunch of records. So I don't know, how have you guys been dealing with this whole thing, like creatively? Like, have you found a lot of inspiration? Have you found a lot of creativity going on, or what's going on?
There's not only one answer, at least in my case, to this question. The first part. Well, first of all, I came back from Peru, where I played for Elro, just outside Lima. The 15th of February. It was an insane show. Got back on the 17th of February, and both in Paris and in Lima, everyone had masks on already. So it was sort of something was already in the air, something was already happening. And as I got back, the night I got back, they measured my temperature at the airport in Linate. I went out for dinner with my wife, as I always do when I come back from these long trips, and I basically never went out again because from the 22nd of February they closed schools. I had a show I had a free weekend just after that because I was returning from Peru. I had a free weekend, then I was supposed to go to the Dominican Republic, and then just after that, the weekend after, the 29th maybe, or something like that, I was supposed to go to Dublin to play, or vice versa, I don't remember. And I cancelled both those shows because I felt it wasn't the correct thing to do. And unfortunately, I cancelled them because within 5 days, our whole region, our whole country changed, and we found ourselves with kids home from school and all these things. So the first part of my isolation was I can express that with a number. I've done approximately 50. I don't remember if it's 52 or 53 records within the first month, maybe. Something crazy.
You did
crazy.
50 tracks in a month.
I did 50. No, maybe it wasn't a month. I don't remember the amount of time it took, but it was like maybe 2 months.
Whatever, bro. That's a lot.
The first period was I'm not gonna believe that my career is finished. I'm not going to believe that this is over like this, because I'm having a really great moment, and I couldn't believe that from being in front of 7,000 people in Lima like that, in my house, maybe forever. So the first month or 2 months, I don't know, I just put, let's say 50, 52, 53 ideas, like proper ideas, but, more than I. So I was really hyperactive with that, and hyperactive with my kids. That's the main two. Those were the main two things I did. I started a diet, which has helped me a lot to be focused. And as I've often done in my life, I tend to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing, and so I decided I would not eat from 8 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, whoa, okay, that's a while.
Yeah, it helped me a lot, because it's as if I lost that little extra edge that I had, and it allows me to be more focused mentally, let more light. Although I'm very light anyway, but believe me, it's really helped me a lot to keep my focus on not, letting my head go all over the place. After that, I had a complete down for like 2-3 weeks. I was completely like, I've not been for a long time, to be honest. I don't know. I was just, when you finish Luca knows about all these things. He had more or less the same thing. And then as we were both coming out of the dark period, that was basically when they communicated here in Italy that clubs would be closed for indefinitely. And apparently it seemed as if clubs would reopen in 2021 and all that shit. When that hit us, well, Luca started going with his bike, like, I don't know, 1 million kilometers a day.
That's what I do, bro. Lately, I've been riding my bike. Well, here we do miles, but I think I do maybe like 25 kilometers a day, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's. And then after a while, as it often happens, I followed Luca in his activity, and I put myself up. I thought it was a really, really good idea, and I started riding myself. And then as things have opened up a little bit, I've started with the studio again now, and I've started playing tennis, which is one of my favorite things. I play tennis every day.
Oh, nice.
I do a lot of gymnastics with it and blah blah blah. And so I'm slowly going back to normal. Fortunately, the homeschooling via internet is finished, because I have 2 kids, and it was incredibly intense to be online 2 hours.
A lot of parents have told me that, bro. Yeah, that it was kind of not an easy thing.
No, but super constructive, right? Because I've learned so many things that those things that you study when you're really, really young,
forget.
And then you forget, like, how does the rain, materialize in the sky?
Yeah.
Studying all the different changes from the solid state to and it's honestly really, really interesting, and I can't say I've reconnected massively with my kids over this period, and with myself as well.
That's good.
Changing perspective massively for my future, and the way I want to be, and the way I would like to be, and what I'm looking for, and all those questions that you hardly have time to ask yourself when you're touring intensively, and when you're basically trying to keep your head in the right place, because it's so hard. People don't understand how hard it is, and anyway, so that was my I've not mentioned my wife, because we're super attached always, whatever happens. So that's
So what happens to one happens to the other.
we get along. I'm one of those lucky guys that has been lucky enough to find the correct person for me,
bro.
to be a better fit.
That's wonderful to hear.
Luca has the same fortune as well. He has a beautiful wife. She's a beautiful mother, beautiful girl.
Wicked.
And so that was it. And it's just incredible. I mean, you go from being with Lee Foss, in the music booth having a beer, to looking out the window and seeing the police state shouting, you know, you can't leave your homes, you cannot leave your homes if not for essential reasons, or for it's very, I think it's been a very difficult challenge for everyone to put this in perspective,
For sure.
and to also realize how relative everyone is, and what we all do, how relative it is when it comes down to serious shit, you know. I myself have a very personal approach to what I do in music, for a number of things that I've lived in my life. So it's I have a very easy approach. I try to be the best version I can of what I can control in my brain. And at the end of the day, I've, you know, since day one, I remember an interview I did at Ministry of Sound in 2011, the first time I played for Defected. And I said there, you know, at the end of the day, none of us is the Dalai Lama. Or we're not doing. I mean, we're doing something important for the heart of the people, but it's not. None of us, you know. When the good thing is, with all of this, you see all the egos bullshit just, you know, covered from the rain, and that makes me happy in a way.
Me too, bro. To be honest with you, yeah, it's been making me feel a little bit better too. I think a lot of people needed to have their egos put in check. I hopefully, I mean, let's see what happens, but hopefully that these DJs that were charging 100 grand, 200 grand, hopefully their fees will drop, you know, and people can start kind of getting their head out of their ass, bro. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this is a good wake up call for everybody, bro. Like you were saying, it's like, you know, we're all vulnerable.
I agree. I think, and I hope, this without taking anything away from the names that have been involved in a number of, you know, a number of things on the internet, because I respect them very much. But without taking anything away from them, I wish them to go on as long as possible, because it's what I wish to myself, to be able to go as long as possible in this career, because at the end of the day, you know, it's who we are. there's no you know, I'm never going to probably say this again, but Luca knows, when I've moved house just before the COVID. I bought a house in the country, and my idea was to come here and slow down slowly, you know, because I was really stressed with touring too much and kids, and I'm a very active producer. The label is, you know, we have 2 labels that are really intense. It's a lot of work, you know. So, and I must say that during this isolation and during this whole thing, I've honestly said to myself, isn't it strange that you wanna do something less when you have it so much, and then when you don't have it anymore, that's when you know, I've realized how much I am that person and how much I want to play, you know.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter if fees go down. I don't really care. I don't really wish for anyone's fee to go down, although I feel promoters are not going to throw their money away because they won't have a lot of money, so they won't have the luxury of you know, overpaying a lot of DJs, and this will sort of shorten the distance between you know, smaller DJs and bigger. And also all this whole dragging everyone out of the box, all the world out of the box, and giving such a hard and such a direct punch in the face from you know, from our destiny in the world. I think that will also put into perspective for the DJs to put their ego up their ass, and for the promoters not to book, you know, people that are going to bitch about this and that anymore. We come together as a human species at this point, and music is one of those things that will help us connect to get over this and get over this, and you know, and I hope that this will help in this manner. I mean, being a cheeky bastard myself at the beginning of my career, you do have the periods where, you know, if you've worked so hard for so many years to get to a point where you're actually making some music, some money in music, but then it's something that has to, you know, the main focus is music. The main focus is proving. The main focus is to, you know, give something to the people.
Sure.
Because you're a musician, so you have to respect
Absolutely.
that. You have to.
Let me ask you this. Did you have any gigs that were booked for this summer in Ibiza?
Yeah, I can't actually say because I had a residency. I mean, I had my first residency, and if you know, and it was a super important one as well, between names that are like.
I mean, Sandra, you wait. You were supposed to have a residency this year? Oh no shit,
yes,
bro. Oh
yes.
well, I mean, congratulations, and I'm sorry at the same time. You know.
No, well, you know, it's we're about to launch a whole new concept. We've been working for a year, and
could you talk about it a little bit? Could you say where it was going to be, or?
You have to ask Luca about that. Can we say where it was going? Because you see, the thing is, it's supposed to be we're not supposed to. I'm not sure we want to announce this either because it's going to on. So, but
it's a surprise for next
year. Then that's fine, and that's fine. And you know what? Look, bro. However, this might suck because obviously, unfortunately, it's not. It's shit that we can't be there this summer. You guys can do, you know, the residency you guys had planned. The only good way, or at least the only good thing to kind of take from this is hopefully, so I use the time, think about it, so that when next year comes, you do it big. You do it, you know, no problems.
And another thing that I think I've achieved during this isolation is really, and through meditation, not only through eating differently, but is the focus to try and be more in the moment. And this has helped me a lot with the quests that come in our direction. And when something hits you and you're able to be in the moment, you sort of let all the expectations drop. Mm-hmm. And when the expectations drop, you have nothing to lose. You're the same guy that was in London 15 years ago, living in a 2 square meter room with a hole in a window, because that's where I was 15 years ago. And look at where I am now. I mean, I have a beautiful house, a beautiful family. I'm blessed. At the end of the day, you know, residencies moved by 1 year. Okay, so what? I mean, it's nothing compared to a lot have lost their jobs. Claro. A lot of people don't know how to eat. What are we talking about? You know, and promoters that have treated us with expensive hotels, expensive cars, business class tickets, big fees, and all of that, for me, is something that is in the past, because now it's time for us to come together and help the promoters get back on track. This is the way I see it. And I'm not saying this to please promoters by you know, it's just the way it is. We are all going to have to put in perspective the fee. I think. I mean, who's going to have the money to put up big events without taking big risks, and after how everyone's been hit? So, apart from a lot of DJs that have become DJs and that were promoters, so a lot of them are, you know, a lot of the new generation, they were promoters, and so they have big organizations that follow them because they were promoters before turning themselves into DJs, which is not, there's nothing wrong with that, but they have a following, so they can sort of, you know, put up their own events without having to pay their own fee because it's their own event. Right. So in that case, that's a big strength, and it's not an easy thing to pull off, and so well done to those guys.
Sure. I mean, and with you, Luca, I mean, for the people who don't know, people listening, Luca is one of the residents of Blue Marlin Ibiza, which to me is, well, either the coolest beach club in the world, and if it ain't the coolest, it's definitely one of the coolest. So you know, you go there. There's always good-looking people, always cool tunes, and a lot of that is responsible to Mr. Garaboni. So Luca,
Yeah.
so what's up, bro? So claro, the summer is not happening in Ibiza. So Blue Marlin what? So Blue Marlin no hace nada, not
Well,
doing shit this summer, obviously, no.
it's very strange. I don't know. I go to Ibiza 1st of
Yeah.
July, but I don't have, ¿cómo se dice in inglés? Certeza. ¿Sabes?
There's no certainty.
Oh, no certainty.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very strange for the Spain, for the Italy, for the England, for the Germany.
Mira, you know what? Here in Miami, things. Okay, I just went out last night. Yeah, last night was the first time I've been out to socialize since all this shit started. So yesterday we were at a rooftop place in this new area, well, the newer area in Miami called Wynwood. It's a place called Astra, very, very cool place. I see this place as one of the cool places that will be open for conference for WMC, doing cool events when, if WMC should happen again next year. But it was the first event that I went, and not many people are social distancing. There's no masks. There's none of that shit, bro. So, for a little while, bro, I felt a little freaked out, being so close to people. But then after a while, I'm like, bro, yeah, stop, dude. Enough. I need to get out. I need to kind of just enjoy myself, bro. So at least here in Miami, things are slowly gonna get back to normal, slowly. But everything is gonna be outside. Yeah. I want to hope that in Italy, bro, like maybe the same thing happens for you guys soon too, or some beach clubs or terraces and things like that open where people can at least have a beer and chill out outside with your friends and hear some music and and see what happens.
Mid-July, I think, 15th of July.
Yeah.
I think that some clubs, facilities that have an open area can sort of reopen with a smaller amount of people that they usually have, something like that. But they keep changing their mind. They're very, very afraid of walking into the past.
Another one, I know, man. And you guys had it very bad, bro. The whole world knows that Italy, was going through a lot of difficulty and things like that. And I'm just so happy that you guys are okay, bro. Because things weren't really that good. So
yeah, we've been very lucky.
Guys, I wanted to get into a little bit, bro, as the label. So yes. the label of Flashmob Records, dude. To me, you guys have something really, really great right now, man. The labels is putting out, to me, what I think is the most important thing, which is consistency, bro. Consistent tracks. The tracks are dope. All the records that I'm getting, dude, if it's from, whether it's from you guys or Ilari Montanari. Am I say that right? Ilari Montanari. Always putting out some good stuff. Ivan Pica, the Manage and Dance. Luca, your record, the Disco Land record.
Wow,
dope record. Yeah, dude, dope record. And you, Sandro, bro, at the end of the day, I mean, everybody knows your Needing Me track. And you've had the Lone Brazilian, which did really, really well for a long time. Mira, another one that you have that I really, really enjoy, bro, is Pieces y La Morenita.
La Morenita.
And La Morenita is cool, bro, because, dude, I mean, a few people have kind of used that sample, but at the end of the day, the track wasn't really that good, and the way that you did yours, to me, is my favorite version of it. So, yeah.
La Morenita is very popular in South America. People like
They like that.
Yeah,
dude.
Very much in South America.
The record worked, for what you're telling me, it works good there. People in Miami play it because I know some buddies of mine here in Miami that have got that on their playlist, and I myself was playing it a whole bunch when I was living in Bali, bro. So, yeah.
But it did super well in streaming on Spotify. It has, I don't know, X million of hits, and on YouTube as well, maybe 10 million. Oh, nice. I don't know. It on streaming and on downloads, and it did well in the charts as well.
Oh, nice.
Although my label and the label we run with Luca, who is the A&R, is not super focused on the chart thing. I mean, we'll get there to the chart thing. The first thing is to be consistent, as you said, and have an identity with sound, which is far more important than, you know, hitting the charts immediately. It's a process. So I'm happy that one is noticing.
Yeah. To me, bro, at the end, like I said, the consistency. Like there are tracks, and especially with a lot of records I get from promos, dude, where the one promo is good and the next 2 or 3 suck. And then after that, then I just kind of tend to not really even pay attention so much anymore because it's just not consistent, bro. And it's gotten to a point where, at least with Flashmob, where if I get, I already know that if I'm gonna hear the track, it's gonna be quality. Whether it's a track I can play is something else, but nevertheless, it's a very, very well produced track. And I would say that 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna end up playing the record. So,
well, applause to Luca then.
So Luca, you're the one I see responsible for what, listening to all the tracks, picking and choosing the records.
But it's my life.
Only
I listen music every day, 10 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we get like 200. We get like 250 demos a week.
Coño.
So
yeah.
I'm working on something right now for you guys, huh?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah. So when I have it ready, it's almost done, bro. It's almost done. Mira, you know what? I don't know if you could see it. Oh, you probably can. I mean, this is the Virus C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, long story short, bro, I used to own this like in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then one of the stupidest things in the world was I sold the fucker. I sold it. And I wish I didn't do it. And then quite recently, I picked it up again from a friend of mine who was selling it, bro. And I got it for real cheap. And the records that I'm doing with you guys actually has a couple sounds from here.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
it's a nice piece of machine.
Bro, you know what, man? When I started messing with it again, it helped me realize why it was so awesome to begin with.
Yeah,
I don't know why I got rid of it like the first time. So I'm using that, dude. What are you guys into hardware stuff, or do you guys mostly work with software, or how do you guys do your producing?
Me, I used to have when you know Flashmob, we were 2. You know, we were 2 people. I'm just gonna have to move a second to get my recharger. But we were 2 for a long time. Well, for a long time, for 2 years, and then the other half of Flashmob project, and it was just me from 2015, and as we split up, we're still friends and everything, okay? We're still very good friends, but as we split up, I started selling because I got married, and one thing led to the other, and I started
selling.
I started selling the Voyager. I sold.
Why do we all do that, bro? Fuck.
The Virus desk. I sold. What else did I sell?
Hold it, and a Voyager, huh? You got rid of a Voyager.
Yeah, fucking asshole I am.
Right.
And then
I don't want to call you that, but maybe.
You can. I had a mini Moog, which I had to rebuy with Arturia, and I use it a lot. So I don't know why I really gave that away. And the Nordlead I had an MS-20 that I used to use only to go in to saturate and use a little bit of the noise in and out.
Korg, Luca, Korg.
Yeah. I'm producing with Cubase from 20 years.
Coño.
Yeah.
So you use Cubase, and what are you recording with, Sandro?
I have a Ableton Live. Live Ableton.
Es moderno, Sandro.
Bro, you know what? Look, man, at the end of the day, when it comes to the DAW, they all do the same shit, bro. It just matters how you get to that point, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think nowadays, yes. Maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, you could argument logic, but now it's sort of, plus you see the main difference is that Luca's kids are older than mine. They're already adults. So I have very, very little time to sort of, I need something that is really, really
fast and quick,
very,
and
you know,
easy.
to the point sort of thing. And I find Ableton Live one of the easiest and most intuitive and most direct of the ones available, in my opinion.
I agree for those same specific reasons. I don't, but I don't have anything against the other programs. I just find that Ableton's workflow is very quick.
Yeah. But Luke has been using it for many, many years, so he's, you know, he's quick enough.
Hey, same thing with my buddies. I got some buddies who use Cubase and Nuendo, and you'll see they themselves, of course, use it quick. You know.
Yeah.
What I meant to say is that I would never do that jump now.
I can't either, bro. Yeah.
I just think of that, but anyway. Yeah. So.
Sorry, guys.
Hardware.
Sorry, one moment. Sandro, speak about our now EP, because
yes.
I have 2 minutes and my daughter is in the gym.
Okay. You must know that Luca's daughter is a national champion of rollerblades.
Really?
She's Italy's for her age of rollerblades. Seriously.
Oh, wicked.
So Luca every day drives 2 hours to take her to train into another region. It's crazy how focused this girl is, and she's amazing. But anyway, quite rightly, we were talking about the label. We had the real story. I won't bullshit. You know, the real story is that an EP we had fell to pieces because the remix that was supposed to be done wasn't ready. So there was a free space like a month and a half ago. There was a free space in the calendar, and both Luca and I had the necessity of putting out a record. I hadn't put a record out on the label for a couple of months, and I promised that I would try and do a track every month. And Luca has just done that incredible release with Discoland and the other record. Discoland, by the way, has been selected in Italy from all the historical gang for the main Italian compilation and blah 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 from Emidueo Albertini.
Dance Revolution.
So, you know,
puta madre, felicidades, huh?
Sí.
Yeah, bro, wonderful.
And so, you know, there's that free space. We both had the necessity of putting the record out, so we decided we'd do an EP with a single of mine and a single of his. Since both the tracks were quite similar, because my track Parado is I find it to be quite similar to Luca's guitarra.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
so,
for me, Parado is better.
No, I prefer guitarra, believe me. But,
my man, so I love.
We called it Salsa EP because basically I replayed an old record from, I think, the 90s. It was called Salsa House, and I replayed it completely, and I did this new record, and
it's amazing.
It's coming out Friday, and
I need to hear this.
There's some really, really great feedbacks and some interest by Radio 1. So we are happy because since Luca has arrived at the label, there's been finally a constructive projectuality towards the label, which means that we're not just, you know, we're trying to plan ahead, and we're trying to plan starting from where we want to go, coming backwards sort of thing, and then trying to plan with the 4 or 5 weeks in advance that our new distributor Label Works wants in order for everything to be done correctly. And obviously to do that, you need to evacuate a little bit the catalog and let things, you know, but we're getting there. I'm really pleased, especially on a human level, because Luca is an amazing chap. He comes from the mountains. He's very, very stubborn. So if he wants to put a record out and say no, we're gonna fucking argue for, like, you know, it's gonna be gangster shit.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
Hey, la la la. We don't talk for a few days. He's very strong-headed. So,
I mean, have you guys known each other for a long time?
No, we actually met when I played at Blue Marlin. What was it, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I was the second guest of the season, and I went over, and Luca was let's say a person that was very, very interested in the label. Let's say he knew more than I did.
Really?
And he was like very, very determined to come on board, and I was coming out of a not happy experience with a previous A&R that did an incredible job himself, but it was hard days. Sometimes, sometimes you need to find the person with the correct personality that can connect with yours as well. I'm not easy as well, so.
Bro, I would have sworn that you guys have been friends for like at least 10 years.
No, we met there, and to be honest, for me, right at the beginning, it was too good to be true, sort of thing. And then after 6 months that we were talking about this, it just happened spontaneously, to be honest. And since then, Luca has had a massive impact in the growth of the label, with bringing quality, consistency, and really the passion to want to do things properly, to want to improve. And so I'm sure that if we go on like this, we'll be able to use my platform to put up, lineups and events that will maybe put us in the position to travel together and spend more time together. Because at the end of the day, it's very hard both traveling to DJ and both having families and not living in the same city. It's not always as easy to, find ourselves together. But it's a very, very positive asset that has come to life in my career to be.
That's
open
awesome,
about it.
bro.
So
I like the fact that, like, with you guys, and as far as the label and stuff like that, is the overall, the sound, I guess you could say. You guys, at least the stuff that's coming out with the label, it's always gonna float between like house, tech house, maybe a track here and there with a little bit of tribal feel to it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it always floats between the house and the tech house. And that to me personally is what I like, bro, because that's actually like where my DJ sets just kind of flow to. I mean, I have some sets where I have to play more deeper stuff if it's like a daytime set, but if it's gonna be like a nighttime set, club set, it's always gonna float more or less with the records that you guys are putting out, bro. House, tech house stuff.
Right.
And that's really cool, bro. So that's one of the things that I like about your label, bro.
Well, you see, Alex, the main rule that I learned from my mother was, if you're going to do something, you do it properly. And if you're going to do it, either you do something that is not there, so you do something completely different, or if you're going to do something that is already there, you need to do it better than the guys that are already doing that. So spontaneously, we've had to choose quality over the charts and over the bullshit, basically. And it's a longer path, but I think it's a path that will give its results. In the end, it will give great results, and especially for the way we are leading this journey, for how we are passionate and not stressed about it. It's just something fun. The label is something fun, although we're very busy and everything. But that's the main thing that has really brought a plus to my way, which is good.
And as far as the label, like, do you guys have I don't know, Sandro, do you have a track coming out now with Flashmob? Do you, Luca, have anything else now coming out with the label in the next couple weeks?
Well, Friday, there's Salsa EP that has a track from myself called of Nando Parrado, who is one of the survivors of the plane that crashed on the Andes, etc. etc. I'm a huge fan of his, and we were actually supposed to meet last time I went to play in Uruguay, and then he had a last minute thing.
Where were you supposed to play in Uruguay, bro?
And then
no,
with
where?
Alex Cáceres
In Punta del Este.
No, it was in between Punta del Este and Montevideo. I in Punta del Este, but it was not exactly in Punta del Este. And they put me in Punta del Este because I have friends there, and I spent extra 2 days in Punta del Este before going back to Montevideo. So rather than but yeah.
No. One moment, Sandro. Oh, sorry.
Sí.
Tranquilo.
I go, and bye everyone. The story continues with Alex Seda at Flashmob, and
tranquilo.
Ciao Luca. Saluta Camilla.
Certo. Alex, un abrazo.
Venga, Luca, thank you for being here with us. Muchas gracias para estar aquí. Un abrazo. Venga.
Ciao.
So, Sandro, bro, I wanted to talk to you, man, about basically about the ways you go about producing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody at the end of the day has all their own ways of how they go about doing it, man. You know, some people, of course, you know, will kind of start either with a bass line. Some people will start with drums. You know, everybody, of course, has their process. You know, everybody goes through it in different ways. I was just wondering, bro, how do you go about yours, bro?
Well, basically, Alex, for me, producing is a never-ending sort of experience that grows with me as a human being. So, as I am getting older, the process is to try to move out as much as I can from my normal process each and every time. So I try to add new things. I try to put myself in an uncomfortable position where I'm obliged to learn a new technique or a new way of making something, or a new way of starting, or a new way of sampling, or a new way of just approaching music in general. It's a different state of mind that keeps me on the edge, and that makes me want to do different and improve. Ultimately, I've spent a period making a different kind of house, let's say, compared to the house that I used to do at the beginning of Flashmob, which I'm going a little bit back to now. And that is for the only reason that to make 4, 5, 6 big tracks, you have to make 400 or 500 tracks, and out of those,
it's a matter of numbers, bro. Like you're saying, you know.
So by the time you've managed to, if you've managed to put a string of really good tracks that, let's say, define a period of your career, by the time you've exhausted that period, you're this is obviously I'm talking for myself, and other people can stick to the same genre, but me, I have long periods making the same kind of music. I want to do something different after that, and I feel that my career should not be in how do you say, in checkmate by what I'm obliged to do. Like in the studio, I need to be free to experiment and move forward and put myself in a position where I think I can be, where I think I can contribute to the growth of electronic music in a way. And the only way I can do that is making mistakes, putting myself in positions where other people don't understand. And whoever doesn't do that is not ultimately growing and is doing it for uniquely for the career, which is, I mean, we all have our motives and we all have our reasons for doing things. Me personally, for me, it's a journey for me as a person, as Sandro. So it's very important for me to be able to make mistakes and improve, overcome adversity, mental adversity, adversity in music, and then go back to what I was doing with a different approach, with a different kind of skill set, and improve, and maybe do records that are even bigger than Needed Me. Obviously, wherever I go, it's always Needed Me, because it's done so well. It's, you know, it's become an evergreen, a classic, and it has like 24 million hits on YouTube. And
wow, really?
shit. But yeah, but or The Lone Brazilian, the same thing. You know, it's been it was in the charts for so long, like 7 weeks, #1 overall on Hot Creations, that people sort of, you know, pinpoint your career with defining tracks, which would be like Brick House, Needed Me, Hot, 95, and so on, and they forget that. Well, I don't know if they forget, but maybe they don't understand that it's a process, and a lot of people fall in love with. There are certain tracks that I got changed in the meantime, by the way. There are a certain number of people that fall in love with tracks that are, you know, that have not really been successful, but in a way they are part of your journey, and they get you bookings, because not all the promoters book you for one track or the other. And I mean, through the years, I think I've been booked for every single track. So my approach changes every time. I used to be at the beginning, I used to work with an MS-20 connected to a rain, and we used to use the noise of that MS-20 and saturate with the rain, and do and write tracks live. After a number of trials, we would record the track live, so we wouldn't have parts for a remix, or it would just come out raw.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking of House, I'm talking of, and a couple of tracks even before Flashmob, when we were Ego Stereo, Danny and I, we released a couple of tracks on Moan, a couple of tracks on Noir Music, and even then we were experimenting this typology of production, because it's what you do at the beginning, you know, or halfway, let's say, and then you start wanting to be a little bit more pop, let's say. You start wanting your tracks to be a little bit more complex, and so you start, you know, using different kinds of hi-hats, one on top, one underneath the bass lines, or, you know, one more synth, one's down, more low, and also with the kicks, different kinds of kicks to obtain one kick, and it all adds up to a different kind of structure built on frequencies, rather than, you know, simply 4 fucking incredible sounds that stick perfectly together, which at the end of the day do the job. Because if you think of it, some of the best tracks that I've done are just like 3, 4, 5, you know, sounds in all. Now, these last 2-3 years, I've obliged myself to do tracks with 30 different sounds and effects, and this and that. So I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing at the beginning in the way I was doing it at the beginning. I'd rather, you know, start a new defining period where I can maximize the experience I've had in the studio to build maybe a similar sound, but in a different way. And at the end of the day, the end of my career, the way I see the end of my career is maybe streaming content and also producing artists, or, you know, as many do, producing other artists or rappers or whatever it is. So you have to, I think, build and use the time you have in electronic music to build those skills and put yourself in a position to, you know, be able to start any kind of type of music with different approaches. So I use a lot of LoopCloud. I use a lot of that, and
LoopCloud has been pretty sweet, bro. I've been really liking it, huh?
Yeah, it's very cool, and you find also there's some original material that's very cool. There are also loads of sample libraries where you can, you know, find stuff and then replay stuff, and you reuse stuff and have stuff sung. There's so much to be there's so many stuff to be creative with, and so that's one of the main tools that I'm using lately, because also you connect it to your DAW and it syncs, and so while you're listening, you can listen to it with the rest of the track.
Correct.
And for the the BPM, the key, which is super useful because you know you don't have to stress yourself and wondering, okay, is it in? Is it not in? I don't know. I'll have to listen to it tomorrow with clean ears. No, what the fuck? I mean, you click. It's
and it's on time. Yeah, dude. It's a wonderful system, dude. It really is, dude. I mean, before Splice was kind of doing some good stuff, but I think now LoopCloud has come in, and I think that maybe they've kind of knocked it out of the park with that one, bro. Yeah. Do you find yourself using any other software, bro, that helps kind of bring you creativity or helps let you express yourself, finding these sounds, bro?
Well, I was telling you when we met the first time that I'm in love with this new little tool that I bought, which is the Console One from Softube. It's theoretically it's a simulator of big mixers like the SL and stuff like that. But I use it in an unconventional way, and I sort of use it as a makeup artist in during the process to shape sounds and change them and overdrive them or whatever it is. And it has a compressor, it has a little drive, it has all the low passes, high passes, and all of that. You can you can do loads of interesting things with this, and if especially if you have a clear idea of what you're doing and you're making groups within your DAW of the drums or of whatever you're doing of the effects, and you're doing them at early stages, you can already sort of work on the glue of the whole groups already from the start, and it's as if you're mixing while you're producing the. And that helps me a lot. I'm not afraid of thinking I'm intuitive in a way. And then obviously you make mistakes. You just go back.
That's how we learn, bro. Would you say that you use that thing on every track that you do?
No, because it depends from the period. If I'm in heavy, because as I said, many times I use it, and many times the outcome is not as I would like it to be. Sometimes it is, or sometimes it isn't. If I'm touring heavily, as I usually am, and don't feel sort of confident, and I have little time to finish a remix or whatever it is, I'll probably just use it the minimum and won't take risks, because I just simply don't have the time then to sort of go back and have to rechange it, re-listen to it, and and so I try to get to the point, get the idea down, and then many times if I'm overtired, I go to a studio where I have a friend and get assistance with the mix as well, which is something I hate to do, and so on. So I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, it's sometimes you mix tracks and you master tracks, and sometimes simply you just don't want to do it.
I hear you, bro. I actually just finished putting the finishing touches on a track that I was doing yesterday. And then to me, it sounded good. I send it to a buddy of mine, and then he's telling me that like the kick seems to be phasing out. I don't hear that. So like, and then it leaves me like, where it's like, fuck, okay, now I gotta go back in and try this and this. So it's like, I'm like you were saying, I also try to do the mix while I produce the record. You know what I'm saying? I shape the sounds. I try to mix it. I get all the levels where I need them to be during the production of the track. I don't just make the record and then finish that shit and then kind of go for the mix. I do it all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, I would say that once the track more or less is finished, then I'll fine tune those little volumes, maybe lower it a tiny bit more or whatever, but I'm not going to make those huge drastic changes at the end of the track. No, like I do all that shit in the beginning of the record. But yeah, there is a moment where I just don't want to do it, bro. And this one specifically, dude. It's actually I've decided to do like a reversion of Sandcastles by Dennis Ferrer. You remember this record? Yeah. So I redid it again, and I played all the parts again, and it sounds wonderful, bro. And I'll send it to you, man. You let me know what you also think of the mix. You let me know if what I told you hear. As soon as I'm done talking to you, my next job is to go in there and try a couple things that some friends of mine said, which hopefully by doing those specific things, I can fix a problem easily. But we'll
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Okay.
see, dude. But I mean, do you normally do the mixing and mastering process yourself?
Master, no.
No.
Mixing, if I don't do it personally, I assist. I go and assist. It depends. If I have to, if I'm back from a like a 30-hour flight on a Monday night, and I have to finish a remix on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I have one day to do it, I'll finish the record and then go to the studio and get it mixed properly. Or if I have a couple of days, I might. It depends if my ears are clear. It depends how much I've played and how much my ears are messed up with the journey, how much I'm messed up, because when you come back from these travels,
you're out of whack, bro. Yeah.
Just you don't know what you're listening to. Come on. there's no big medium or big artist, touring artists that travel a lot that can maximize the 3 days that you're at home with clean ears. It's not possible.
And me personally speaking, if I were traveling that much and I only have 2 or 3 days, there's a possibility, bro, where I'm not gonna do that much listening to loud music in my studio, bro. Maybe one of those days I will take it to the studio, but another day like that I needed to relax my ears, bro, because you're about to beat the shit out of it again next time you get on the airplane.
Yeah. It's what I do is kids, because I have 2 kids, so when I'm away, they need their time back. So I have to give them time back. I want to give them time back, and then I download all the promos. I have to give answers to my A&R Luca for the tracks, and then on the airplane, I'm reselecting tracks, and I'm sort of the adrenaline starts pumping in again, and you're preparing folders, and then the hotel, and then before you play, and then even coming back, I will maximize that time because I still have the adrenaline from the gig, 1-2 gigs depending, and it depends how long you travel for. If it's long journeys, I have plenty of time to get rid of a bunch of. By the time you get home, you don't want I have to stay away from music for 2-3 days. Otherwise, the next time I travel again, I just don't want to go. People don't talk about these things that much, but I'm starting, especially after this COVID whole thing. I've put into perspective a number of things. I've been doing some of the best gigs in my life lately. 1 second. Sto facendo un'intervista. Silenzio. Silenzio.
No
Sorry,
worries.
my kids. Yeah. I'm doing a number of gigs where I would go to the airport with my wife, nearly crying. I just didn't want to go. Just too tired, too exhausted, too full of, and then you just go, and then it's just what you do. So you go back to being that monster, and then you pay for it. And if you're playing a lot, between December and January, I played like 15 gigs. And I got to the end of January, plus I was never feeling well. I'm convinced I had the COVID, obviously.
Really?
During that period, yeah, because I couldn't breathe properly, and I was always exhausted. And I was taking cortisone for my asthma, and it just
wasn't doing shit.
away. Which usually if I do the Ventolin, which I do rarely, it goes away immediately. If I do the Symbicort, which is cortisone, it disappears within 2 hours. And I did like 15 days of cortisone, and I couldn't breathe properly. So anyway, I got to the end of, I went into this lockdown that I was completely drawn. And if you look on my Instagram, some of the gigs that I did were the best ever, like that in Peru, or this is not party, or I did a string of incredible gigs. We did a 9-date Italian tour, all sold out. All the 9 dates were sold out. It was one better than the other. So I kept going because I was really, really happy. But it's, in between, you're like, and so it's very difficult to re-motivate yourself in the studio. You have to diversify. You have to find new ways of doing things. At least I do.
Sure, I agree.
I'm not a robot. Even my kids say, "Oh, why are you not making music this last 10 days?" because I did like 50 records during those other 2 months, and I don't have anything to say now, you know. And I'm doing other things. I'm free, getting my mind free, doing gardening, riding my bike, pushing the label and things like that. You know,
Sure.
I used to use these synthesizers, which I sold when Danny and Di split up in 2015. I still have a Prophet 6 and a couple of other, and a Lasers to play the drums and a couple of other things. But I'm very virtual with a lot of Arturia and a lot of, I like to change, but the main focus for me now is how to be creative and how to get that melody, which usually is super simple, that can enable me to send to a singer that can sing on it. This is what I've been working on for like 6 or 7 months now. I'm a bit fed up of doing tracks, the tracks and tracks. I've done 100 tracks, like 200 tracks. I don't know how many tracks I've done. And so I want to make songs now and put them in a live DJ set using my Tourize from Pioneer that I use with the Dave Smith filter we were talking about. And, so more and more I'm collaborating with a musician and with a singer from the UK, which is the same singer that I did pieces with on Defected, Layla Walker. She used to be a back-end vocalist for Beverly Knights on the Jamiroquai tour, 2000, I think. And she's hell of a singer, hell of a performer, hell of a writer, especially. And she plays the piano. And so, we were just about to hit this, and like she came over to Italy, and I was really sort of putting the basics for a Flashmob band, which is what I'd like to do also for the future, just to dedicate myself to the festivals, which are more seasonal.
Yeah, bro. A live set is always great, man. Look, man, I'm one of the first DJs to tell you that looking at a DJ for 2 hours, looking at the same guy standing around gets boring, bro. And I'm a DJ, and I'll tell you that if anybody has to look at me for 2-3 hours, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying, dude? It's like there's only so much that one can do. You know what I'm saying? Look, it's one thing if we do. Normally, let's just say most of the time when we're invited as the guest DJ, your time slots between an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours, correct? More or less. You know what I'm saying? More or less. Yeah, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Maybe you'll play longer if that's up to you, if you feel like it. But normally when you're in the invited, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Depends on the country as well. In the States, yes. In Europe, there are some countries where they, like if you go to Germany, you're not going to play less than 3 hours. But overall in the world, yes, it's exactly.
So I just say that, like, if you're able to add something more visually appealing, bro, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? People like that stuff, man. Look, you know what? For instance, I had so one of the guests that I had before was, I don't know if you've heard of these guys, but there's a group called Rabbit in the Moon. And Rabbit in the Moon they've been around a long time, bro. They were part of like the whole 90s early rave scene. And they've always been one of the headliners on Ultra, on the main stage. So when these guys were doing their shows, like in the beginning, bro, when I first saw them, like 1998, 99, and even in the early 2000s, the guy would go up on stage and there's no decks, bro. The guy's going to show up with like a Juno 106, another rolling keyboard, an MPC 2000, another sampler that he had. So he would show up with gear, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then when you see the show and you hear the music, obviously all that shit's coming out of the synthesizers and out of the equipment, bro. It's just something that just resonates with people. When people see somebody busting out the equipment and see them doing some shit that's different, like, people appreciate it, bro. And I know I'm not the only one saying that. Like, I know other people feel the same way, We're in an era, bro, where everybody's a DJ now. Even the people who are, who shouldn't be DJs are DJs now. So I think that we just kind of need to just sort of do something to just kind of do something a little different, you know?
Yeah, I agree, especially with you know, with not being 20 anymore. It's the festival scene is more suitable for my way of, you know, for how I want to travel, for the time you get to play in the afternoon or early nights, and you don't get to, you know, you're not playing from 6 to 9 in the morning or stuff like that, which I've done for years and
You know
years
what?
and years.
We all have it now that we get older, bro. Like playing those daytime sets is awesome, dude.
It's a different story, and you can do, you know, I can do a piece of live and then just the DJ set, which I love. And yeah, I just feel that this is something I'd like to work towards. And now that this lockdown is slowly coming to an end, when it finishes completely and Layla will be able to come over, we're going to start making some serious tracks. We've already done a couple. So
I'm
yeah,
looking forward to hearing the one that you did with Luca, bro. The salsa EP.
the Salsa EP is out
On
on
Friday,
Friday.
yes, you had mentioned that it's out on Friday. Just to let everybody know, I'm sure that we can find it on all the downloading networks. No, I'm sure we can find all your stuff on Beatport, TrackSource, iTunes.
I'm going to give you a little review of something.
We don't have to worry about YouTube copyright infringements because it's your record.
This is one of the tracks I did during the COVID. And then the one that I did with Layla is this. And this one. I did 3. That's all.
That's pretty awesome, dude. Yeah, dude. No, you've been
you can feel.
Yeah, no, you've definitely been keeping seriously busy, bro. Yeah, you've definitely been keeping seriously busy. Well, I mean, the tracks sound wonderful, bro. I'm actually really happy to see that at least from what you showed me, bro. These are very housey sounding records. They don't sound too techy. They sound very fresh, very happy, very funky. Basically, summer vibe. You know?
Yeah. COVID vibe.
COVID vibe.
There's no
fucking COVID. These nuts, bro.
No, I'm super pleased. I'm super happy of you know, just spontaneously. I'm just spontaneously.
No, but you got some great stuff, bro. And the sound choices you use are always really fresh, bro. You know, of course, one of the, you know, when I did hear the Needing Me from you, you know, the bass line, a real funky kind of noise. So you know, so that's, you know, obviously you've got an ear for some interesting noises, bro.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So, bro, Sandro, I wish you all the very best in the world, dude. You're a super solid guy, bro. You know, I like the way that you've been handling yourself during these crazy times, dude. Have you been, you know, putting everything into focus, putting everything into perspective? You found time to make a shitload of music. You found time to get the label going. You found time to better yourself physically, emotionally. You know, you've been able to find time for your wife and the kids, and that's wonderful, bro. And at the end of the day, I think these
ups and
downs, bro, ups and downs, in and outs. But at the end of the day, dude, you know, you seem to be on the right path, dude. And with that, dude, honestly, bless you, bro. I wish you the very best to you and your family, bro.
I appreciate it. I wish you the best too. You're a very nice guy.
Thank you, bro.
And I wish everyone to simply be themselves and just try to remember that every one of us is struggling at the end of the day with something. So there's no need to, there's no need to use the ego bullshit, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. It's such a great thing to be kind to people and reply and give people an opportunity. And just remember when we were in their position, when nobody was answering to emails, and then there would be that one person, and that one person is actually the special person that answers, isn't it, at the end of the day? So makes you feel good to be good and do right things. So there's no shame in and it's not that big DJs don't reply. Many big DJs reply on the internet if you approach them correctly.
Sure.
So
absolutely. Well, now then, Sandro, let's do this. Let's stay in touch.
100%. Let's do this again in 6 months. We'll do it again.
Sure, bro.
I hope in the States very, very soon. And thank you for having me.
God willing, man. God willing, everything should be up and running soon. Hopefully, we're all here thinking about last quarter of the year, bro. So October, November, December,
And God bless America.
Let's see, bro. We have our problems here, dude. Things aren't.
I'm watching too much Netflix, eh? I'm watching too
everybody, dude. I've seen every shit that Netflix has to offer, and not only Netflix. And you know what? Netflix should actually give us some money because we're gonna promote them. But it hasn't also been Netflix. It's Amazon Prime, Hulu, and all the other shits, bro. So
we've all the same thing.
Yeah. Alessandro, with man. Please take care of yourself, bro. Yeah, please take care of yourself. We're all looking forward to the new stuff. Remember that that Sandro and Luca's EP comes out this Friday. It's called the Salsa EP on Flashmob Records.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys stay tuned, and we will be in touch with Sandro again, hopefully very soon. So you take care of yourself, and thank you guys, everybody, for listening. Huh?
Ciao, everyone. Ciao. Thank you. Bye-bye.
What is up, everybody? Guys, I want to talk to you guys about a new plugin. And I don't want to say just one plugin, but like a series of plugins. So if you guys haven't heard about LoopCloud, LoopCloud is a website where you can go download an app. And on that app, it kind of works like if you guys have been using Splice, where you're able to kind of go through millions of different samples. You can hear different ones that you like. And then if you like it, you get some credit, and then it'll go into like a cloud, into your app bank, and you're able to put that into your track. Super simple to use. Now, the thing is that with LoopCloud, they've just been giving you, at least to me, so many insanely amounts of different varieties of samples from all different kinds of genres. And I really think that the selection that they have, I think they've got the best right now on the web. It really helps your workflow. It really helps you move along super quick, get inspired super fast. So for instance, we've got, let's bust it out. Boom. So here it is. And you've got access to all different kinds of samples. So you can go to genres, pick different things that you want, get into specifics, and then another, once you find what you like, we can choose which one you want. So, boom. So here's everything that we've got. We can break it down. Drums, stuff like that. You hear it. If you like it, click it. Boom, goes into your library. You got it. Now, your library, you have now access to all the stuff that you've downloaded. And then, of course, which is the coolest part, you got an 8-track like sequencer here. You just easily just take a track, drag it in there below. And I've just done this right now. I added a kick. I added some congas, a little hi-hat. Boom. And just like that, we're moving. Once you like it, literally just grab it and drag it into your DAW. Boom. Well, that's a MIDI track. But as you can see, just drag it into audio. Boom. And you're good to go. There it is. So, real awesome. So we've got that. And then they've also given you 2 other plugins that actually are going to come, that are going to work directly inside any DAW that you got. There's Ableton, Logic, whatever, Cubase. And that is, we've got the LoopCloud drum, which is really dope, man. It is a drum machine, you could say. You have access to some banks that they give you in the beginning. It's got some cool people on, Sebastian Lager, Timo Maas, Audio Jack, some cool people. And as you see, it's cool, man. It's got a step sequencer if you want to like record your stuff that way. You know, work similar to like maybe any drum machine. If you guys have used some in the past, you can link it, create some more patterns, stuff like that, make it longer. You've got ways to modulate, decays, attack, stuff like that. Really, really cool. And then they're giving you another plugin, man, which is it's called the LoopCloud Play. Yeah, and this is, it's like synth, but it's a sampler, but that has a bunch of synth capabilities. We've got modulation, so of course we've got the attack, decay, sustain, release. We've got a filter, and it sounds really cool, man. We've got guys who've hooked up with some cool sounds. So we've got Carl Cox hooking it up with some pads, a few other cats. We've got Kissy Sellout who put some really dope stabs in it too. So if you could see though, got some stuff in here, you know. And then the cool thing how this works is you're able to go online and get more sounds. And then the sounds are going to go, you know, if it's a sound that'll apply to this machine, it'll come and it'll play in this machine. This works as any VST, as any plugin. So of course you can automate everything here, which is dope, you know, and just mess it around. You know, I was able to kind of get, so this, we got Sebastian Lager's drum machine. Just like that, we get. So you see I had the pattern off, you know, just kind of created this here though. Little beat going on. And then we got some little hip hop stabs. Let's get that up in here. Now, here's a loop that I actually took from here, from LoopCloud in my library, and I literally just dragged it right onto my track, man. Boom. Boom. Some shakers I dragged out of there too from LoopCloud. You know, and it's like just with these plugins, man, you can basically get a whole track going. Congas. Yeah. Let's get these Kissy Sellout stabs going. Groovy, man, but it's got all different kinds of sounds, from stuff that's more aggressive to stuff that's more chill, you know. Let's just bring in this nice dreamy pad from the man Carl Cox. Let's do, you know. So as you can see, you know, we've got some cut off again. It's just so wicked, man. I mean, I think LoopCloud has totally killed it, man. You've got access to millions of their samples, some cool sounds that they give you. If you want more, just go on the website and get more. It's seriously with these 3 plugins, like you could basically make a whole track. So they to me, they completely killed it. Guys, I can't recommend this plugin enough. It really, like I said, it makes working so much quicker. You get inspired really fast. You've got access to so many different kinds of loops and stuff like that, and some wonderful plugins, man, you know, to help you shape those sounds. And yeah, and it's free, so that's even cooler, man. Well, I mean, the plugins are free. If you want more sounds, of course you got to start paying for them, but the plugins are free, man. And yeah, so totally worth it. So guys, LoopCloud, huh?